Imagine this scenario. You would consider yourself to be a relatively hardworking, dedicated student. You would like to be admitted into a certain college, but you find out that they automatically admit the top 10% of the class. While you're not in the top 10%, you are still a good student, but you are placed in a harder application pool that includes minorities. You come to find that have not been admitted to the college because your college has decided to embrace the idea of affirmative action, which tries to recruit minority students for the university. You are then forced to look at other options. This is where we find ourselves today regarding the issue of affirmative action in education and employment opportunities. Today I'll explain to you 3 reasons in opposition of the use of race in college admissions and employee application process. It is very unconstitutional, it can actually amplify racial prejudice, and it makes students and employees less accountable and responsible. Just a kind of recent overview of this issue. According to a New York Times article by Adam Liptak in 2014, this has been in constant debate throughout our history of our country. In the Greta versus Bollinger case in 2003, the court decided that the Michigan Law School was very narrowly tailored to achieve the results of diversity. And so the court decided to allow the use of affirmative action in the educational setting in order to recruit minority students to be a part of the university. And then in 2006, the state of Michigan actually decided to create what was called the Proposal 2 in response to this decision. So they were seeking to ban the use of affirmative action, and about 58% of the state of Michigan was in favor of banning the use of affirmative action in the educational and employment setting. So first I'll discuss why the affirmative action use is unconstitutional. According to Paul Johnson's The Grutter Decision article on the Columbia.edu website, some of the white applicants to the Columbia University were being denied application simply because the university was seeking to receive more minority students into their university. And according to Ariana Asaf's 2013 article in the Michigan Daily Times, there was a case that opened in 2008. It was called Fisher versus the University of Texas, where this is what I referred to in my opening about this student, Abigail Fisher. She was not in the top 10%, but she was placed in a more competitive application pool with the minorities. And so she was not admitted into the college that she wanted to be admitted into because they were seeking to recruit more minorities. And so she viewed this as discrimination, and she tried to sue them for that. And so a New York Times article by Adam Liptak in 2014 said that affirmative action violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment in our Constitution, and also the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And basically, this is just stating that we're supposed to, under the Constitution and the law, give everyone the equal opportunity for employment and education. And since they were not receiving this through the use of affirmative action, it's considered unconstitutional, an unconstitutional issue. And so those in opposition of my point of view, according to Jonathan Alger in a 2003 University of Michigan.edu article, they would claim that diversity is very beneficial to an educational or an employee environment, simply because there will be a variety of types of minority students. And while I do agree, because our nation is the melting pot of the world, I do agree that we should be seeking diversity, but we are not operating on unbiased criteria when we do so. When we use affirmative action, we are being very biased in our decisions. We are focusing heavily on race and not on other factors that make everyone on an equal playing field. And so second, I'll discuss how it can actually amplify racial prejudice. According to the ncsl.org Affirmative Action Overview article, affirmative action sort of creates a sense of reverse discrimination. So although we are seeking opportunities for the minorities, we are participating in reverse discrimination against the Caucasians. because we are not giving them the equal opportunity either. And so we're kind of remaining stagnant. We're not moving forward with this. So this could be compared to trying to solve the problem of obesity by offering free fast food to those who are overweight. It simply does not make sense. And so we're basing our decisions heavily on racial prejudice rather than academic achievement, which is supposed to be the sole focus of an education, is academics. That's the main point of it. And so we're actually creating more detrimental effects than good because we are still operating on this prejudice mindset. We cannot seem to progress forward. We are still thinking in ways of discrimination and prejudice, although this time it's against the whites, and so it's still not fair. Minorities may be stigmatized and treated differently by their peers and professors because they may believe that their success has been unearned, because they may view it as them receiving a sort of a free ticket or a free ride into the university based on the color of their skin. And so this website found that the NCSL found that there's actually no correlation between skin color and intelligence. So my question is, why are we acting like there is? Why are we considering race so heavily in admission and employee opportunities? It should not be focused on that. And so we're not making good progress in terms of our racism, prejudice, and discrimination that has been present for decades. We cannot seem to move past this idea of skin color, and we're not treating everyone fairly. And so next I'll discuss why affirmative action policies make students sort of less accountable and responsible in the educational and workplace setting. According to the ncsl.org Affirmative Action Overview article, if the test scores and GPA standards are being lowered, then the minorities are actually striving to meet the lowest requirements, so they're not trying to push themselves as hard. And so this is like children who are competing for a prize. The white child may win, but if the black child still receives a prize, or the minority child still receives a prize, how is this fair? So those in opposition, according to Ariana Asaf's 2013 Michigan Daily article, say that since the ban, the number of minority applicants has heavily dropped. But in response to that, I would say that if they're genuinely motivated, it should be their responsibility to improve their lives. So they should if we continue to take the steps for them, then we're not teaching them how to be productive in a real world setting. So I've discussed the opposition to the use of affirmative action because it's very unconstitutional, it can increase racial prejudice, and a less proactive minorities. So a quote by Rachel Jankowski, the chair of the University of Texas College Republican, says, "Admission into college should be based upon merit. Everyone should have an equal opportunity when granted admission into college." I believe that we cannot solve the problem of racism and prejudice by creating additional avenues to prejudice. We are continuing to contribute to this vicious cycle, and we will never fix the problem if we do not begin to treat everyone on an equal basis.